My beloved, you who carry burdens too heavy to name, you who have tasted sorrow like bitter wine, come closer now. Let me speak to the part of you that's been bruised but not broken, the soul that trembles but still walks forward. This life, oh yes, it will wound you. It will stretch your heart until it feels like it may split in two. People will come and go. Some will love you gently, and some will mishandle the beauty of who you are. But hear me, child of dust and divine breath. You will rise again, like the sun that refuses to stay hidden behind storm clouds, like the seed that pushes through hardened soil. You will rise. They may have tried to bury you, thinking you would decay, but they didn't know you were a seed. And seeds, when crushed, bloom. So sit a while and let the healing begin. Let us walk together through truth, through tears, through the fire, and let us rise. Your pain is not your identity. It's your initiation. What you went through was not meant to be your prison. It was meant to be your passage. You see, the world has a cruel way of trying to name us by our wounds. She's the one who got left. He's the one who lost everything. They're the one who never recovered. But, oh, if they only knew that pain is not a final destination, it is a refining fire. It is the place where spirit is carved into shape, where voices are found, where truth becomes undeniable. When they walked away from you, they thought they took your value with them. But what they didn't know is that your value was never theirs to carry. You came into this world marked with purpose, and no betrayal, no heartbreak, no false accusation can strip that away. Yes, you may have cried yourself to sleep. Yes, you may have begged God for answers in the middle of the night. Yes, you may have stood in front of a mirror and not recognized your own reflection. But my dear, none of that means you're done. It means you're being reborn. Initiation is uncomfortable. It pulls apart the comfort zones we hide in and demands we face the truth about who we really are. Pain will press on every fear, every insecurity, every lie we've believed about ourselves. And that's the beginning of the rising, because once the pain exposes the lie, you have the power to choose truth. The truth that you are not what they did to you. The truth that you are not your worst mistake. The truth that your story is still in motion, and this chapter is not the end. You were not made for permanent sorrow. You were made for resilience, the kind of resilience that only comes from walking through the valley with your head still high. That doesn't mean you didn't break. That means you didn't stay broken. That doesn't mean you didn't bleed. That means you didn't let the bleeding stop your becoming. When people think of resilience, they often imagine strength without softness. But real resilience, holy resilience, is the ability to be soft and strong all at once, to love after loss, to believe again after betrayal, to rise after ruin. So don't let anyone label you by your lowest moment. Don't let anyone, including yourself, believe that your identity begins and ends with your suffering. The pain was only a part of the story. The truth is, it was an invitation to rise into the fullness of who you are. You were initiated into your power through the very things that try to destroy you. And now you carry a fire that can't be extinguished, a grace that can't be earned, and a story that will say, let them whisper, let them misunderstand you, let them count you out, because what they did, what they said, what they tried, it cannot cancel what God put inside of you. The fire, the wisdom, the beauty, it's all still there, and now it's deeper, it's richer, it's rooted. Your rising isn't about revenge, it's about redemption. You will not rise the same, you will rise wiser. You will rise more sure of yourself. You will rise with clarity. And most of all, you will rise knowing you were never the pain. You are always the purpose. Forgiveness is one of the most misunderstood powers we possess. So many believe it to be surrender. They think if you forgive, you've somehow excused the hurt, accepted the betrayal, approved the mistreatment. But that, my love, is the lie. Forgiveness is not giving in. It's getting free. It's not weakness. It's warfare. Forgiveness is how you take your power back without ever picking up a sword. You see, the ones who wounded you may never apologize. They may never acknowledge the depth of the damage. And that's okay, because forgiveness was never about them. It was always about you. It's the moment you choose to stop bleeding for what someone else did with their brokenness. It's the declaration that you are not willing to stay chained to the past any longer. Forgiveness is not forgetting. No, remembering is part of the wisdom. But the pain that once haunted your memory loses its grip when forgiveness walks in. It doesn't mean trust is instantly restored. It doesn't mean you invite people back into your life with open arms and no boundaries. It means you've decided that bitterness won't rot the garden of your soul. It means you've stopped giving the offense the authority to speak over your future. Because here's the truth. Unforgiveness costs you. It is a silent thief. It steals your sleep, your peace, your clarity. It becomes a filter through which you see every new possibility, every new relationship, every new beginning. But when you forgive, the air becomes lighter. Your spirit becomes clearer. You're no longer at war within yourself. You've made peace with the past, and that opens the door for purpose to move in. There is strength in the person who can look at their pain and say, "You don't own me anymore." There is courage in the woman who says, "I forgive you, not because you deserve it, but because I deserve peace." There is victory in the man who chooses release over revenge. That's power. That's dignity. That's legacy. So don't let them tell you forgiveness is soft. No. It's the fiercest thing you'll ever do. There will be those who come into your life like storms, loud, sudden, and destructive. They'll shake your foundation, question your worth, and leave you standing in the ruins, wondering if you'll ever be whole again. They'll try to reduce you to the moment they mishandled you. They may have touched a chapter, but they do not hold the pen. People will project their wounds onto you. They'll try to make you feel small so they can feel big. They'll criticize the parts of you that shine too brightly because your light irritates the shadows they're hiding in. And in their attempt to break you, they reveal their own brokenness. But you, beloved, are not the reflection. You are your own masterpiece. You are not the name they called you in anger. You are not the silence they gave you when you needed love. You are not the abandonment, the manipulation, the betrayal. You are not what they said about you behind closed doors. You are not what they assumed about you without knowing your story. None of that defines you. None of that can. What defines you is what you choose to believe about yourself when no one is clapping. What defines you is how you rise after being torn down. It's the quiet resilience, the sacred self-respect, the inner knowing that you are more than what you've endured. You carry something eternal, something no hand can touch and no lie can erase. They may have walked away, but they didn't take your value. They may have tried to shame you, but they didn't strip your purpose. They may have written you off, but God had already written you in. And that, my dear, is where your power begins. When you stop agreeing with the opinions of those who never saw your worth in the first place. There will come a time when the room falls silent, when the applause fades, when the voices that once cheered you on are nowhere to be found. The people who once promised to walk with you may grow weary. The friends who once said they believed in you may become too busy, too distracted, or too distant to see the battle you're fighting. And in that quiet, you'll be tempted to shrink. You'll be tempted to question your worth, to forget your calling, to silence your own voice, but that is the very moment you must rise and speak over yourself, for yourself, to yourself. You must become your own prophet. You must become your own encourager. You must become the voice that declares hope when the world offers none. Because if you don't speak life into your own soul, the silence will echo lies. And lies, when left unchallenged, become beliefs. So speak. Speak with trembling lips if you must, but speak. There is power in your words. Power to shift the atmosphere around you. Power to remind your heart of what your spirit already knows. The world may forget who you are. People may mislabel you, overlook you, dismiss you. But the moment you open your mouth and call yourself worthy, call yourself chosen, call yourself enough, you begin to reclaim territory the enemy tried to occupy with shame. This is not arrogance. This is alignment. Alignment with the truth of who you are. Alignment with the purpose placed inside of you before you ever took your first breath. It is not vanity to speak power over your own name. It is survival. Because there are battles you will face that no one else will understand. There are nights you will cry that no one else will witness. And there are dreams buried inside of you that no one else will fight to protect. So you must speak. When fear comes to steal your sleep, speak peace. When doubt knocks at your door, answer with courage. When shame creeps in to remind you of every mistake, speak grace. Speak healing. Speak freedom. Your voice is a weapon. Use it. And don't wait until you feel strong. Speak even when your heart is shaking. Speak while the tears are still fresh on your face. Speak while you are still in the middle of the mess. Because sometimes the act of declaring your truth is what pulls you out of the pit. Sometimes the words you speak today become the bridge that carries you to tomorrow. There will be moments when no one claps for you. Clap for yourself. Celebrate the silent victories, the private growth, the unseen strength it took just to get out of bed. Speak to yourself the way you wish others had spoken to you. Be the voice you needed when you were younger, when you were broken, when you were alone. You are not waiting on permission. You are not waiting on a savior in human form. You are not waiting on someone to crown you. You are already crowned by grace, and grace does not expire when others stop believing in you. So stand tall in your own presence. Look yourself in the mirror and speak truth. Speak love. Speak boldness. Speak as if heaven is listening, because it is. Speak as if the ground beneath you needs your voice to shake free the chains of doubt, because it does. The silence of others is not the end of your story. It is the beginning of your self-awakening. And once you learn to speak over your own life, no one can ever silence you again. There are rooms you will walk into where people will question your presence. They'll look at you through eyes clouded by comparison, insecurity, and misunderstanding. They'll ask silently, or sometimes out loud, who does she think she is? What makes him think he belongs here? And in those moments, if you're not rooted in truth, you'll start to ask yourself those same questions. But I came to remind you today, your worth is not up for discussion. It is not a group project. It is not a vote. It is not earned through approval or applause. It was declared. It was spoken by the one who made you, and no one can revoke it. The world will try to measure your worth in numbers, in followers, in paychecks, in relationships, in achievements. They will reduce you to a resume or inflate you to an image. But real worth cannot be counted. Real worth is intrinsic. It is baked into your very being. You carried it the day you were born, and you will carry it the day you leave this earth. No loss, no failure, no rejection can erase it. Sometimes we forget our value because we've spent too long in places that didn't recognize it. We've stayed at tables where our voices were ignored. We've loved people who could not love us back fully. We've worked jobs that drained us dry without pouring anything into our soul. And so we begin to believe that maybe we're only worth what we've been given. But hear me clearly. What you've been given is not a reflection of what you're worth. Some people simply don't have the capacity to see you, and that's okay, because your worth was never meant to be visible to everyone. It's sacred, it's holy. It doesn't shine under every light, but it never stops glowing. You do not have to perform to be valuable. You do not have to pretend to be someone else. You do not have to shrink, fit in, or hide the parts of you that make others uncomfortable. Your worth stands on its own, firm, unshaken, unapologetic. It's in your voice, in your story, in your survival, in your softness, in your strength, in your scars. Your worth is not one-dimensional. It's layered, rich, and beautifully complex. Let them misunderstand you. Let them underestimate you. Let them gossip, walk away, ignore, or overlook. Their inability to see you has nothing to do with your light. You don't have to chase affirmation. You don't have to explain yourself endlessly. You don't need another opinion to make your existence legitimate. Every time you look in the mirror, remember this: you are already enough. Before you earn another title, before you lose another pound, before you fix another flaw, before you win another heart, you are enough. That declaration was made before time began, and it stands no matter what. So when doubt creeps in, when comparison begins to whisper, when rejection stings, come back to this truth: you are worthy, wholly and eternally, not because of what you've done, but because of who you are. And no person, no circumstance, no failure can undeclare what has already been spoken over your life. In a world that worships movement, constant doing, grinding, chasing, proving, stillness can feel like failure. We've been conditioned to believe that if we're not producing, we're falling behind. That if we're not visible, we've lost our value. That if things aren't happening fast, they're not happening at all. But oh, the soul knows better. The soul knows that stillness is not punishment, it is preparation. It is where God does his deepest work, not in the noise, but in the quiet. There are seasons where everything slows down. Opportunities dry up, relationships shift, the spotlight dims, and we wonder, did I miss it? Did I mess up? Have I been forgotten? But listen closely. Those are the moments where roots grow, when nothing seems to be happening on the surface. Everything is being rearranged beneath it. The stillness is not a void, it's a wound. Something is forming. Stillness teaches us to listen, to hear the whisper we missed in the rush, to reconnect with the divine voice inside us that doesn't shout, it speaks gently. In the stillness, we remember that our worth is not tied to our productivity. We remember that rest is holy. We remember that delay is not denial, it is divine strategy. Because not every door that opens is meant to be walked through. Not every invitation is aligned with your assignment. And stillness gives you the clarity to discern the difference. If you rush out of the quiet too soon, you may run towards something that was never meant for you. But if you stay, if you let the silence do its healing work, you emerge with vision, with depth, with conviction that doesn't crumble under pressure. You don't come out desperate, you come out deliberate. So if you're in a season of stillness right now, don't despise it. Don't wish it away. Don't let the noise of others' progress make you question your pace. You're not behind, you're being held. You're not lost, you're being led. And when it's time to move, you know, not from fear, not from pressure, but from a quiet confidence that was born in stillness. Healing is personal, sacred. It is not something that requires a witness, a consensus, or an apology to begin. Too often we wait for them to say, I'm sorry. Wait for them to acknowledge the damage. Wait for them to validate our pain. But beloved, your healing is not in their hands. It never was. You don't need their permission to take your life back. Some people will never admit what they did. Some will rewrite history to protect their ego. Some will act as though nothing ever happened at all. And if you hold your healing hostage, waiting for them to do right, you will stay stuck in a story that no longer serves you. You are allowed to move forward without closure. You are allowed to grow beyond the version of you they wound. You are allowed to change the narrative, even if they never acknowledge the chapter they broke. Your healing is yours. It belongs to you, and only you can choose when it begins. Let go of the need to be understood by those who never cared to know the real you. Let go of the hope that they'll one day become the person they pretended to be. Healing is not about changing them. It's about freeing you. And once you decide that you are worthy of freedom, the process begins. So start, even if your voice shakes, even if your heart still aches, even if your hands still tremble from what they did. Start. Reclaim your joy. Rebuild your boundaries, redefine your peace. You don't owe anyone an explanation for becoming whole. You don't have to make your healing palatable, you just have to make it yours.